Lee, hi. This morning we're having a chat with Lee Roche of Frog Mobility, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his company and how he's got to areas at the moment. So Lee, if you would, you could tell us what you do and how long you've been doing it?
Cheers, Kevin. Thank you. Yeah, so I started off in the shared micromobility space in 2018. I formed a company here in Dublin called Smart Scooters. We bought a couple of hundred shared devices, and we were just about to launch our first pilot scheme in Poland. I met now my partners Sean Flood and David Tuzma, partners, and they had already purchased a company called Frog Mobility. Now, Frog Mobility already had permits in Portugal, Malta, and some in Spain, and some in the Americas. So what we did is we consolidated, we brought it right down just to the European market, and we rolled Smart into Frog, and I became the CEO of Frog Mobility. Frog Mobility itself is a shared micromobility operator. Micromobility being e-bikes, cycling bikes, right now mopeds, and of course e-scooters that's coming around. It's the big news all around Ireland at the moment that the legislation is hopefully being passed soon. So on a daily basis, I run the business, and we've got 8 markets in Portugal. We've just secured 5 markets in Spain. We've got 4 markets in Poland that are live, and we've got 1 market in Malta that we're going to launch around July this year. We've just purchased 1,000 mopeds. They're going to be split between the Portugal and Spanish markets. Reason being, it's more of a cultural thing down in the hotter climates that they like to use mopeds. We've also got, at the moment, we've got 2,000 assets, 2,000 e-scooters that we have in our warehouse in Lisbon. 800 of those are live in Lisbon and Cascais and Moya, some seaside towns right up along the coast. And then we've got around 600 assets in Poland that are live, which leaves 1,200 assets in Lisbon that we're raising funds for at the moment so that we can launch in the other cities where we already have secured the permits. In this game, getting assets quick enough, with the shipping and the expenses and all those sort of stuff rolling into one. We have the assets here in Europe, and we've already secured the permits with the municipality. So what we're doing actually at the moment is we're raising funds so that we can go down and launch those cities and buy another 1,000 scooters to scale next year.
I see. And are you selling the scooters, or are they being rented out, or what's the story?
So Kevin, we'd know better from it's the same system as the Dublin bike scheme that we've had here for years. So essentially, you download the app, the Frog Mobility app. You locate a scooter, you scan the scooter, you go through a small little training program, and the scooter you'll download your card details. The scooter will unlock for a small fee, and off you go. You ride from A to B. It's not trying to take away from the public transport systems that we have in Europe and in Ireland. It's just trying to add to it. Yourself, if you have to get a bus into Dublin, more or less going to leave you in town, or 10 minutes from where you actually work, or 15 minutes from where you actually work. So covering that last mile for the public is what we're trying to do.
Okay, interesting. Okay, and so how long has Frog Mobility been going? I mean, is it?
We rebranded the business, and we started it. We brought it all back down, and we started everything again. So we could say, maybe Frog Mobility Limited, the Irish company where we've brought our headquarters to Ireland, and we run everything now from our Dublin offices. We started that in January 2021, last year.
Okay.
The wheels have been in motion. We've had permits for 3 years. We've had the assets for 18 months. It's all been, it was more of a franchise when we bought it, but we consolidated and brought it right together, brought it right down, and optimized everything, the operations, the staff, and that's how we're going forward.
Fantastic. Okay, and so the question here is, I don't know whether it's going to be relevant for you, but who is your best customer, or do you have customer groups, or what, or is it all over the place?
We find well, look, it depends on the city. Okay, so Lisbon is we've got maybe 50,000 users in Lisbon, but we know that maybe 20,000-30,000 of those users are tourists. So you'll come to a city like me or you, we'll land, we'll get out, and we'll say, oh, look, we have to go 20 minutes that way. We jump in a taxi. Well, it's sunny out, it's nice. Here's 2 nice scooters. You jump on them on your way. Then we might only get 3-4 days out of them users, but them users will have the Frog Mobility app downloaded. We'll have their details. So anywhere they go then in Poland or Spain, or hopefully here in Ireland next year, they'll be able to use the app and just continue on as a Frog customer.
Oh, great. So you have quite a large database then of people that are interested. Fantastic. Okay. You started in the middle of the COVID, I suppose. So the next question I had is, were there any business changes you had to consider, or adjustments you had to consider when that COVID-19 made necessary?
It definitely slowed us down. It definitely slowed us down in terms of, in a good way. Sometimes when you're in the business and you're gung ho, it's easier to make mistakes. Everything's going too fast and everything's happening. We haven't made many mistakes because I've got my mentor and business partners with Sean and Dave. They don't let me make many mistakes. So they've been doing this since 2012 in the US. So we don't really make many mistakes. But what it did was, me personally, it let me slow down and assess markets that we're in. What can we do in markets? Stuff that you should be doing on a daily basis, but there's not enough hours in the day. And sometimes if you're working in your business, you can't look at where you're going. And if you're looking at where you're going, you're not looking at the business. So it helped us slow down and assess the whole business, I suppose. On the operations side, one thing that I really like is we started sanitizing the scooters a lot more.
Okay.
That might be cliche saying, oh, well, it's COVID-19, everyone's saying that. But what it done for us was we had eyes on the assets more regularly.
Okay.
So we've got 600 assets in Lisbon. Every scooter has to be sanitized at least once a day. So we're sending out our rebalancing team and our maintenance team to do this for 2-3 hours a day. And what they're seeing then is, probably because we only charge 20%, 30% if it's gone really good of the scooters daily, we wouldn't see the other 70% maybe for 2 or 3 days. So what we're seeing now is we're able to see problems before the customer, before it becomes a real bad problem. If we see a mud guard hanging off, or if a throttle's not working, or if something's just, the scooters are pretty robust. They're built for commercial grade scooters, but it just gives us that extra, I suppose, it's a safety measure that we get to see the scooters on a daily basis, every single scooter.
Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. And I suppose that kind of leads into my next question. The actions that you took because of the pandemic, you're talking about the sanitizing there. What will some or all of those remain part of your business going forward, or?
Sorry, Kevin.
Yeah. I'm just saying, you did extra sanitizing was one thing you did because of the pandemic. Will you continue to do that going forward? As the pandemic?
Yeah, we think it's good practice. So if you can imagine, we'd take in, let's say we take in 20 scooters, we charge them on the way back out to go through a 6-step process. We check the brakes, we check the batteries, everything's fixed, customer app, everything's working, and then it makes its way out to the rebalancing vans. The 6th step would be to clean the scooter down. So you'd be spraying and cleaning down. Now, if you're only doing that with 20 to 30% of your fleet a day, the other 70% is out there and it's getting rides from you, me, Mrs. Murphy, whoever's on them, and anyone could be carrying anything at this stage. I think we've all become anal in being aware of the germs and spreading every sort of disease at the moment. I know there's a new one now, monkeypox, so we're probably going to have to Yes. We're probably going to have to clamp down again. But no, I think it's good practice, and what it does for me is it gives me eyes on the assets on a daily basis.
Fantastic. So what would you say is your biggest learning since being a business owner?
I've been a business owner well before Frog and Smart, and this time there's always moving parts. There's always moving parts, and I like to micromanage. So I am annoying staff daily to get better, or can we do something different, or why can't we do it this way? And they're saying to me, I'm just a maintenance man. What are you doing here talking to me in Lisbon? But I'm over there and I'm trying to get it. So what I'd say is moving parts, definitely in the shared micromobility space, public transport. We've got the software side of things, and we've got the hardware side of things, and we have to build these partnerships with municipality, and then we've also to raise funds. And then we've in-house to make sure everything's running fine. So what I would say is moving parts as a CEO and as a business owner, keeping everyone on point, and being hard but being fair.
Okay.
I find a better relationship with my employees, especially at boardroom level. It's more casual. I'm not dictating nothing like that is happening. We're all in it together. Let's find this. If there's a problem, let's find a solution as quick as possible. So the quick answer would be probably moving parts.
Moving parts. Okay.
Moving parts.
Okay. Keeping all those plates spinning. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Is there, what do you find, how do you see, looking at your business now, how do you see the future? How do you see it going forward for your business?
For my business, we have a great roadmap. In the next 3 months, we launch another two seaside towns, and hopefully Braga in Portugal, which is great for us. And getting the main cities, it sort of gives you that extra credence going forward and raising funds, and obviously having your operations on point. By the end of this year, we should have 15 live cities. Getting over that initial, 10 cities running great, operational wise, everything optimized, brilliant. Then it's sort of, you sort of do something once or twice, then it's perfect. No one's saying that every city has to be tailored, has to have a tailored approach, but we're finding our feet now, and we really know which way we want to do things for mobility. And going forward, it just seems to be getting easier and easier every time we get into a city, or every time we get a permit off municipality. It seems to be more free flowing and easy going and getting going. So by the end of this year, we should be in 15 cities. The end of next year, we're hoping to quadruple that. We've got pre-orders of maybe 5,000 assets, and we're trying to get another 1,000 of those this year. The industry as a whole, it's still in the industry. Shared micromobility is still really in its infancy when we think about it. So it's 3, 4, 5 years old. It's a bit more in the US. So everyone's still learning now. We've got the big guys that's trailblazing. They've got 100 cities and 10,000 scooters and all this sort of stuff. And I'm saying to myself, how can you manage that? How can you possibly manage 50,000 scooters moving people around?
Yeah.
But they seem to be doing a good job of it, and every day is a learning curve. If a big company comes to you now and tells you, "Oh, we've got it nailed," it's perfect to 100%. They're lying. Every day brings up a new scenario, brings up a new problem, and you're constantly putting out fires. It is a hard industry, but with the software and the hardware constantly evolving, and people starting to embrace it. It's yourself, anything new. So, it's a new form of public transport that we're introducing, to a society that already thinks we have everything and know everything. So I'd say in the next 3 to 5 years, we'll really see a blossom, and you'll see scooters, properly parked everywhere, and in car park spaces. It'll be a more free flow. You'll see city centres starting to adopt to, pedestrianising streets, and then really will it flourish. Will shared micromobility flourish, and we'll start to improve pollution and CO2 and get all the sorts of emissions, and everyone will be happy then.
The whole sustainable thing. Yeah. No, it's fantastic. It's very inspiring. So, but for you, what is the most inspiring for you today? What would you say inspires you the most today?
I wanted to bring a more sustainable form of public transport to Ireland and Dublin. When I first started, it was Dublin, then it was Ireland, then it grew to UK and Ireland, then it's Europe, and now we're talking about, when we do finally get our hands around Europe, what we're going to do. It's just a more sustainable and affordable way of public transport, and the big thing for me starting off was pollution.
Okay.
How can we be more eco-friendly? This is not sustainable. I've probably watched too many Netflix shows with Leonardo DiCaprio, but I love the whole electric EV. I've got my own EV car, and I think it's the way forward. And I think the more people that embrace and the more people that push it, will get there quicker.
Fantastic, fantastic. And maybe just around, have you any offers that you want to include in our newsletter?
Yeah, of course. To at the moment we're coming to the end. We're raising funds on Spark crowdfunding, the platform. We're raising 350,000 to scale in those cities and 5 cities across Spain that we spoke about. Now the funds will be used for actually scaling. It's not to buy the assets. We've actually got the assets and we've got the permits. It's just building teams in those markets and moving the assets in and launching. It's also then to pay for the other 1,000 units that we want to get here before the year's end. So we're raising funds on Spark crowdfunding. And the good thing about that is it's EAAS qualified, so you can claim 40% back of whatever you put in tax relief.
So you would like people, maybe is there a particular website or something they can go on to support the funding? It's a crowdfunding site.
It is. It's pretty straightforward. It's a great website. It's called Spark Crowdfunding.
Spark Crowdfunding.
The minute you start typing in, all sorts will come up. Spark Crowdfunding. Great place.
Okay. Well, fantastic. That's great.